Quick Slants is presented by your local New England Honda dealers.
Everybody, how's it going? Happy holidays. Hope the Christmas was great. I know the New Year's is going to be even better. Are we saying there's a chance? Well, yeah. I mean, welcome into Quick Slants. I want to let you guys know that, yeah, there is a chance. Although many are saying that the Patriots do not deserve a chance. I got to remind you, when it comes to the playoffs, deserve's got nothing to do with it. You get in, you go. You think this is like a bowl game invite? You can turn it down because you didn't play to your standards and there's some false nobility in not going? Sorry, this is pro football. The fact is, you're uptight, those of you who don't want the Patriots to go to the playoffs. You're uptight that they're going to get themselves an opportunity to call themselves a playoff team. It's just like you're upset that Mac Jones gets to call himself a Pro Bowl quarterback. You are worried, I think, in advance about how what you view as the opposing camp may use the fact of a playoff appearance to propagate a view you don't agree with. It's a worldwide problem these days, and it's writ small with your local football team. There are parallel streets here, though. I want you to understand that. You should be able to have two thoughts in your head at once. You can root for more games while also understanding the product has not been good. Rooting for a team to not make the playoffs because whatever cover it provides, come on, pull yourself together. Like football again, even when it's a version that's tough to embrace. Kay in Cabo! Yeah, that's where she is this week. I forgot that I have to do the game plan thing too. Still in it, we'll get to that. Missing Tua, also get to that. Worthy of the postseason, I alluded to that, and Michael Hurley in on Mac. Kay in Cabo!
Tom in the Northeast, looking dapper, might I add.
How do you like this, huh?
I like it a lot. And the glasses, yeah. Give us a little twirl.
I peeled the glasses off. Where do you see the statistics? Because I put out a poll on whether or not the Patriots deserve. Kay Adams, of course, is from FanDuel. She is the host of the Up and Adams show, and she's been a long-time buddy of mine and forever friend. You doing good out there?
That's true. I'm doing wonderful. Merry late Christmas to everybody out there at NBC Sports Boston, and Happy New Year. Tom, this is our last show of 2022. You better be bringing it today.
Well, that's why I'm wearing the pastels here. Is this a pastel? You look wonderful as well. Quick Fires, presented by your local New England Honda dealers. Kay, take it away. This is the stuff you do so well on.
My show, yes. Okay, here's what we're looking at. This is a full screen showing you the Pats results against Miami since 2019. All right, so take a look. They split in 2019 and 2020, but they've lost four straight against the Dolphins. They're now 2-5 in their last 7. This one, Tom, is for all the marbles. Dolphins not looking too hot, though, right now either.
They're not, but the product they're putting on the field, Kay, looks so much better than what the Patriots are trotting out there. I mean, very competitive on a snowy night, Saturday night, against the Buffalo Bills on the road in the snow. And then against Green Bay. Again, Green Bay is not what they used to be. But still, representative product, and we will get a little bit to Tua later on. Obviously, he might have been impaired in the second half as well. So I still don't think it's a layup, regardless of record.
I think at this point, with everything going wrong, all the drama with Tua, it does come down to coaching experience this late in the season when games count. So, yes, we can talk about personnel, what they look like on the field, but in these back against the wall situations, you saw Brady last week, what he did with Tampa Bay, or even Aaron Rodgers in that game. When these veterans that have done it millions of times are backed up against the wall, and I'm talking about Belichick in this instance, you got to give him the nod a little bit in a game like this.
I want to, and I'm going to get to this during my slant in the B block. Can I, though? I've seen so much intel that shows me this team is not improving offensively. What's next?
Womp womp. All right, let's move on. I have an NFL executive, don't know who. It's on The Athletic, or to The Athletic, rather, talking about the Pats. Here's the quote. Can you imagine being the owner and hearing Belichick say, you know, I'm going to put Matt Patricia on that side of the ball now. He struggled as a head coach and was a defensive coordinator, but hey, it doesn't seem right. Yeah, this is crazy. This is, not okay.
No.
Does Bill want to dig deeper? What's next here? What do you make of this?
To me, it's interesting, and that's from Mike Sando, who's a longtime NFL writer, does an outstanding job. And he's basically plumbing into where do the Patriots go next. My understanding is this. We've been talking Bill O'Brien for weeks now, months actually, since the offseason. I reached out to try and find out whether or not Bill O'Brien would have interest from Bill Belichick. Spoke to some folks who would know, and they said, absolutely, Bill Belichick would be interested in having Bill O'Brien come back. And they added, they'd be surprised if that wasn't already in the works, if not a done deal to bring him back. So all the smoke that we've seen, I just threw another log on the fire, and there is more smoke generated whether or not Bill O'Brien returns. But I think the mutual interest is starting to become more and more apparent, Kay.
Interesting. I need you to come on Up and Adams this week and talk more about that. But let's talk about Teddy
Thursday.
Bridgewater. Let's look at his Let's look at his numbers from this season. 62% completion percentage, 522 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, 3 picks, even there.
Not the best picture, Ted.
Yeah, not good. Only one of these appearances, though, Tom, was a start. So I ask you, Tua or Teddy?
Teddy, if Tua is going to play like he played in the second half the other day, again, impaired possibly with the head injury, Teddy out there, to me, I've always liked Teddy Bridgewater. I think he's a guy who can win. Obviously played in Minnesota, and he has played in the cold. Even though that was a dome stadium, he has played plenty of times in the cold out in the NFC North. So that's a player who I think is more than capable as a backup of coming in and giving a representative effort, especially with guys that he has on his side with Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. What about you?
Oh, man. Tua, I'm more worried about him as a person, his health, hopefully having people around him advocate for him and his health. And that's what I hope and what I want and what I hope happens. Let's go to Mac Jones, who's got a bit of a PR issue, which I didn't think I'd ever say. Stacey James has his hands full. It's not the only play that exists, though, is it?
It was a dirty play. And I understand if in a vacuum, his sole reason for doing it was to keep him away from Tyquan Thornton, but hitting the deck in front of a full-speed charging defensive back when he's not even the first guy in line to make the tackle, you could have bumped him. You could have run across his face a little bit, slowed him down. You could have veered off if you didn't want to get hit. You actually, Mac Jones, put yourself at greater risk by laying down in front of him because you could have gotten a bruised kidney or a lacerated spleen, my friend. There is a pattern here that's going on, and more than anything, it shows that he's got a little bit of a temper issue. He's got a rage problem, and it goes toward the sidelines, and it goes when things are going against him. He flips out a little bit. The switch flips. It happens. I understand it. He's going to have to get it under control.
Switch flips with Tom Brady and lots of quarterbacks, too. They don't go for other guys' knees on dirty plays, though. So definitely something
he would get pissed off, too. But, I mean, the worst one, Kay, by far was the high foot against the Chicago Bears. I mean, that was so blatant. I
had not seen many of those that I was seeing on the interwebs over the past 24 hours. Blatant is definitely the word to use there. All right, I have one last one for you. Your friend, my friend, Gerard Mayo, he's talking about whether or not he's focused or not focused on the head coaching gig.
Yeah, that's never changed. I think I'm ready to be a head coach in the league. But, I have to say this, too. Right now, all my focus is being here at the Patriots. But that's definitely still a goal.
Makes sense. Great candidate. He brings so much to the table in so many different ways. And it's interesting, the overall tenor around the Patriots this year, Kay, isn't great, but the defense has played, for the most part, very well. I don't like the way they played the other day in the beginning of the game, but overall, Gerard Mayo and Steve Belichick have been good architects.
His name should be brought up, and I'll be sure to do my thing on TV about him being a candidate that's mentioned among some of these names that I'm hearing for spots like Denver and the other ones, several I do think are going to be opening up for the 2023 season. All right, that's it. That's all I got. What do you got?
No, we got the poll. I put up a poll that's really relative to the little pitch I made at the beginning of the show. Today's poll results brought to you by Shaw's, perfecting the art of fresh. There is local sentiment that the Patriots don't deserve to make the playoffs. How do you feel about the Patriots' chances in whether or not they do?
Yeah.
33% say, of course I wanted to make the playoffs. 25% are mad at the team in general, but playoffs, I guess. And 42% say no, the Patriots don't deserve to go. You got comments, Kay? Who are these people?
I do. You said fresh. How about D-Fresh saying, I don't care if they beat up on the worst teams. They're objectively terrible on offense. Even if they make the playoffs, they'll get crushed. All it does is serve to give a worse draft pick and increase the chance that they just run it back on offense. Kevin says, Sure, the O is aggravating to watch, but everyone besides Win is still fighting to win every game. And the D is so damn good. The players deserve the opportunity. It shouldn't, can I not say that word? Oops. It shouldn't be dismissed just because we are upset with the coaching decisions. Jay Viper says, what would the purpose even be? To get smoked by any of the teams left? No thanks. All right, loser mentality, Jay Viper. And Alejandro says, all this team needed to do to keep my respect was not lose in the most embarrassing way in NFL history. But they went ahead and did it. That's good.
The people are mad. The people are angry. The people want their pound of flesh. In the end, okay, it is counterintuitive to all the stuff that we understood when we started following sports when we were little humans, isn't it?
It is, but there's a whole thing. But not everybody, not everybody when they were a little human was in this winning culture and winning everything and getting every award. And that's what the Patriots fan base has been the past 20 years. So there's that inherently baked into it too. And that pound of flesh needs to be all the more juicy because the return to greatness needs to happen quickly because the taste is something that this fan base knows so much better than any other fan base. So the patience needs to be there, but I also understand the wanting of a pound of flesh, and people have been fired, moved, adjusted, changed for much less than what's going on.
Growth potential brought to you by Leonard Hair Transplant Associates. Check this out. Patriots the other day against the Bengals, Christmas Eve. How'd things go early? Not so flipping good. But after the Bengals started having sugar plum fairies dancing in their heads at halftime, the Patriots summoned a little bit of effectiveness in the second half. There's your numbers there. Now I want to bring you my slant, folks. Watch out. And I look at that, and to me, what happened on the first third down of Saturday's game, when Hunter Henry and Jonnu Smith smashed into each other, that wasn't just two tight ends colliding and Mac Jones taking a 0-yard sack. In my view, it was just the latest moment that sums up the 2022 Patriots. That at the start of the game, the 15th game of the season, after 9 months of OTAs, mini camps, training camps, and preseason games, the $20 million a year coach presiding over an on-field product with a net worth of $6 billion is watching $87 million worth of players ramming into each other in front of 66,000 fans who paid on average $250 per ticket to watch that in 17-degree weather on Christmas Eve. That after spending a week getting laughed at for how the Raiders game ended and how it unfolded when they were on the goal line. How does that happen? I asked Matt Patricia exactly that.
People are trying to fathom how on the first third down of the game, in such a key game in the 15th week of the season, there could be a play on which the two tight ends slam into each other, a couple of veteran players, because, third downs are key and they're practiced. And then on the next third down of the game against Cincy, there seemed to be a miscommunication where the play never happened. I know that you're probably not going to be direct, but can you be direct as possible as to why that would happen so deep into the season? Who's not getting it?
Yeah, it's a great point. I think, the first third down, we usually go in on third downs. We have, typically maybe a couple different options on the plays, depending on the coverage that we're going to see. Went into that play. We had a really, play that we practiced and thought that, we had a couple good options on it. I think we saw the play a little bit different on the field and kind of clean that up from that standpoint. Came out in the second half, and I think we went 6 for 6, to start the second half, somewhere around that end. So we got a lot of that cleaned up at halftime.
Yeah. Again, he ends up being almost a sympathetic figure because he's gotten pushed into the cockpit and he's got a fishing license, not a pilot's license. I don't want to let the defense off the hook here either. It was 22-0 at the break, and the Bengals basically lost interest. And if it weren't for a dropped touchdown pass in the second half and a pick six from Joe Burrow throwing it in between Marcus Jones 2 and 5 and a ricochet touchdown on 3rd and 29 off a guy named Scotty Washington, it wouldn't even have been close. When we did our preseason predictions, I figured the Patriots for 8 and 9. It'd be bad early, I thought. But as the season went along, the coaching staff would get the hang of things, and I figured at least they'd have the arrow pointing up. It hasn't, and it's demolished all optimism. which is wild. I got some more comments for you from that poll I did at the outset of the show where 43% of my respondents said the Patriots did not deserve a playoff spot. I don't agree with that. Ted Brady wonders, where's the option for no, a higher draft pick helps them more than a playoff curb stomping. We didn't have room for that one. Man of Mystery wonders, imagine being so spoiled that the possibility of a 7 to 9 win season is a bad year. Most teams' bad years are 3 to 5 wins. Spoiled, or maybe we have higher expectations here in the New England area because we're known for excellence. This is the Athens of America, you maniac. Okay, coming up at 6:30. Oh, no. That's the thing for next. That's for after. This is where I just throw to the C block. We got Michael Hurley coming in just a moment to talk about Macternatives. Should we consider them? Yup or nope? Would you bring this individual in for the stated capacity and then a brief reason? The guy who got this going for me, Mike, it's very simple. Would you bring Baker Mayfield in to compete for the starting job with Mac Jones in 2023?
Yep, I would. And listen, I know Baker Mayfield's a divisive topic, always has been, but do we know he's bad? Because I look at Mac as someone with 2 offensive coordinators in 2 years, messed up. Baker Mayfield has had 4 offensive coordinators in Cleveland. He had Todd Haley, he had Todd Monken, he had Alex Van Pelt, then he had the Matt Rule, Ben McAdoo duo. So am I going to judge him? I'm not judging Mac Jones for this year. So am I going to judge Baker Mayfield for what he's been through? No, let's bring him in. He's spicy. I love it.
Better arm, better mobility, a little bit more divisive, probably not as good a leader as we heard coming out of Cleveland. Mike, Jimmy G, bring him in to compete?
No, Belichick loves him too much to compete. He's the starter if he's here. Okay.
He's also too injury prone, and I don't know what advantage he brings over Mac. He's basically Mac with injury issues. Gardner Minshew didn't look too bad the other day with the Eagles. Would you bring him in to back up?
Yes. I like Gardner Minshew. I think he's always been pretty good NFL quarterback, can win you a couple games, which, I mean, you already have that in Bailey Zappi, but I like Gardner.
Yeah, and Brian Hoyer's going out. That's why I'm talking about backups. Most likely Brian Hoyer will be going out, and I think you need somebody better than Bailey Zappi to be a heartbeat away, and I also think there is a need for competition. How about Carson Wentz? Wentz. Also, no, let's not spend a lot of time
all done
on
with him. No.
Tom Brady, would you bring him in to start?
You're asking the wrong guy, because that's an obvious yes from this guy for probably the wrong reasons, just the story. But hey, why not?
There's so much more. You know, what I also got into was straight up trades. And I think that you guys, when we look at Mac Jones right now, this is the damage that was wrought in 2022. But maybe, in a way, it actually gives us insight into what the Patriots are building around. Look, you see a player at his nadir, you see him at his lowest, and you figure out what you have going forward. Now, is Bill Belichick going to be here for another 8 years? No. In a perfect world, Mac Jones would be. But is it a perfect world? And is Mac the perfect fit? I think the Patriots are learning an awful lot about Mac Jones right now. And I think that as we go forward, they are going to want to keep throwing the darts at the board and finding if there is competition for Mac Jones they want to have. There are limitations to his game. There are also so many positives to it that we saw in 2021. So keep your eyes on that. Remember, I mentioned Bill O'Brien. Possibilities are growing that he might be able to come in here in 2023 and be the offensive coordinator. And that would be good for Mac. Wonder if he'd yell at him. Doubt it. See ya.